Imagine a place where you can unwind and relax. Ikea can help you turn your bedroom into a calm oasis. From comfy mattresses to the perfect lights, we've got everything to create your dream bedroom so you can sleep like a baby. And the best part? All at incredible prices. Head to Ikea and grab everything you need. Get ready to rest, dream, and wake up feeling refreshed. Shop today at your local store or at ikea-usa.com/sleep-es and get it delivered straight to your door with our convenient delivery services.
Be the best at what you do so that if people want what you have, they have to come to you to get it.
Hi, I'm Krystal Vega.
Hi, I'm Amanda Booz.
And this is ElevatHers podcast, where we talk about the peaks and valleys of life's journey, from relationships to entrepreneurships, friendships, you name it, we're talking about it, and even give you a taste of the sizzling social media hot topics, all through the lens of modern womanhood.
That's right. And we have a special episode today because we have a special guest that we are so happy that she is joining us. She is an It Girl, Dr. It Girl, okay?
Dr. It Girl, okay?
We have
right.
Dr. Amira Ogunleya here. Dr. Amira turned hustle into success. She co-owns Beautiful Smiles in South Florida and is a premier dentist that stars like LeBron James, Gabrielle Union, Lil Wayne, to name a few. But she is always giving back, and we love that she's on our show. She likes to mentor young women, and she pushes for diversity in the industry. She's a wife, a mom, a change maker. Dr. A is in the house, y'all. Hey!
We're so excited to have you. I'm personally excited because I'm always really looking forward to women who, quite frankly, do it all and have it all.
Yes.
So I'm very excited to learn more about you and how you balance it all.
Well, thank you so much for having me. You guys are gorgeous, first of all.
Thank you. You too.
I'm a fan. I'm my own little fan. I've been doing my little research on you too. So thank you.
Well, we're a fan of you, and also, you're a Florida girl. I was listening to your Florida roots. I did not know where you grew up because obviously, for those who don't know, your roots are in Egypt. Your family is from Egypt, but then you came to Florida at a young age. Like, how old would you say when you came over here?
I was 2.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 2. So it's like the culture from like having like an African household, and then mix that with like down south Florida Trick Daddy vibes, Trina vibes. It was interesting. So yeah.
You and your husband met here in South Florida, right?
We did. We met at Cameo. You know
Stop
the club
it.
Cameo? I promise
South Beach Cameo?
Yes, and it's so wild. Like the story is so wild because you know how everyone's like, I don't really go to the club. Mm-hmm. But no, like for real, he was like, he doesn't really go to the club. It was 4th of July. My friends and I nicknamed him July. Like, do you know when you have like friends and they have a name, like it could be like haircut or whatever. Like his name was July. So when we talked for the longest, they didn't know his name.
Yeah. July. How's July?
I'm like, July acting up, girl. But no, we met at Cameo, and
wow.
It was wild. My husband was so stank at Cameo, which is so crazy.
You know what? And now
were you guys in the same section, or like how was like?
No, so it's so funny because like I was in a section over here, and he was literally across in the section, and one of my girls was like, "Oh my God, do you see the guy across the way?" And I'm like, "Gray shirt."
Gray shirt. July, gray shirt.
And I swear to God, I said, "That man will change your whole life," right? Because I thought he was just fine as hell, but I'm like.
Right.
I was in my like men ain't shit era. Mm-hmm. And so my girl was like, I think we're making eye contact, like her and him.
Oh, I was like, this is going to
we were like, wait, which one is it?
No, but I was like, okay, girl, well, yeah, you know. And she promised me we were only staying for like 20 minutes. She needed to like celebrate somebody. And the exit was this way. My husband's table was kind of like to the angle. And I was like, all right, it's time to go. And she's like, okay, one lap. You know, the one lap.
You got to walk around. Let everybody see you in
so
there.
I was like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, we got to do the lap. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's do the lap. We go to do the lap, and, you know, my husband grabs my hand, and I had to play it off because I saw his fine self. You know, and another guy grabbed me at the same time, and I saw him too. And I was like pulling my hand, like being all, you know, DNR, like, excuse me. And my husband's like 6'5", and I'm 5'5", so he like looks down and he's like, hey, it's me. I guess he wanted me to know it is him, not the other guy. But, you know, when he tells the story, it's so funny because he's like, you know, and she looked up and was like,
oh, yeah. Oh, my God. If you let them tell it.
Oh, my God.
Their story sounds totally different.
They changed your world when they encountered you.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you were the one lighting them up.
Yep.
And they were, like, excited to be encountering you.
And he, and it's funny because he was like, oh, do you, I was like, oh, we're heading. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, can I reach out to you? He's like, are you working tomorrow? Do you have a job? And I'm like, I was like, I'm not working tomorrow, but I do have a job. He's like, oh, okay. What do you do? Like aspiring model, actress, like I guess Miami. And I'm like, this man.
Miami, pretty.
I'm like, and I was like, no, I'm a dentist. He's like, oh, a dental assistant.
No.
I was like,
Oh, no.
No, I'm a dentist.
I was
honey.
like, no, I'm a dentist. He's like, the people that clean your teeth. I was like, no, the one you call doctor. He was like, okay. He's like, where are you from? And with this part, it was a little bit of game because I looked at him and I was like, I feel like he's African because I could have said Egyptian.
Yeah.
But I was like, he's African. And I don't even think I've ever told him this. This is funny. So he was like, where are you from? And I was like, I'm African. And later on, he's like, I told my boy I met my wife.
I know that's right. I love that too. And you know what? We've been doing obviously research on your journey, and I think it's so dope that you know your story of you coming here with your family and like kind of basically like from the ground up, building your empire from the ground up, graduating Howard at 23, which is like insane. I want to talk a little bit about your journey as a dentist. You know what I mean? You have your practice here with your sister in South Florida. What was that like? Because you were young when you became a dentist. What was that journey like, and how is it today?
Yeah, I was young. My dad was like, still, like I said, like culturally Egyptian. A lot of African cultures in general is like a very strict academic household, and so, you know, it was like college courses in high school, and then when it was time to go to college, it was like, well, University of Florida has a 7-year program. Normally, a dental degree takes 8 years, and so University of Florida is like, oh, you could do it in 7 years, and then last minute it was like, oh, Howard has a 6-year program. You're going to Howard. So when I graduated as a dentist, I was 23, and I joined my sister who was already a dentist in Miami. So I was like super young, and I talk a lot about like representation and diversity. And unfortunately, when I first graduated, I would never have like these gold metallic nails.
Right.
I would, you know, not wear the Jordans. Like I really wanted to fit in because unfortunately, less than 5% of all dentists are Black, period. And then you add woman to it. And we know the stereotypes of like, you gotta like be in this box. And, you know, I would never dare braid my hair back then, and I wouldn't play certain music. And, you know, and so I wanted to like fit in. And like one of my biggest things now, especially for like the people I mentor, is really just about like sitting in your excellence and sitting in your Blackness, and just like understanding that like, the room will shift. You know what I'm saying? The room will shift for you, especially when you are really excellent at what you do. And that took me far too many years to understand. You know, I waited until I was like, wait a minute, these people are coming to me no matter what. Because I always say, be the best at what you do so that if people want what you have, they have to come to you to get it. They can't go anywhere else. And if you operate in that level of excellence, they don't care about the chrome nails. They don't care if your hair's cornrowed. They don't care if you're playing Jay-Z or you got Jordans on. You want the best veneers, this is where you're going. You know what I'm saying? You want the best hairstylist, this is where you're going. The best plastic surgeon, this is where you're going. So my journey in the beginning was a little rough for me because I lost myself. And I hate that for myself. And I don't want anyone else to. I lost myself in being different when I showed up to work and being different. Like it wasn't me. That wasn't the real me. But once I got past that, I'm like super loud about it now. Intentional.
That's so powerful that you say that, because I feel like so many women, I mean myself, I could relate, and I'm sure maybe Krystal, maybe you could relate too, is when you're in different rooms and different spaces that you have to shrink, or you have to change your voice, you have to dress a certain way to feel like you fit in, when in actuality, like you said, you don't have to do any of those things. You just have to come as you are, as your own authentic self.
You just have to be good at what you do, like you said. And to your point, I think also just as society in general, we have shifted to like mindset is, if you're doing the job, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how you dress. And quite frankly, because you dress that way or you have the gold chrome nails, certain people are coming to you because they feel more comfortable with you.
Yeah.
And they know you're doing the job very well. So, yeah, I agree with what both of you guys are saying. I personally have felt like, especially at the beginning of my career, I had to look a certain way, dress a certain way. And it wasn't till, years after that I found my power more so just being an individual. Yeah.
It's so true. And it's crazy. I've had to deal with that even like in television, like
Yes,
dressing, like
a
you
lot,
can't wear, like you'll have
especially-
management and you'll have people tell you that you can't. Believe it or not, back in the day, you had contracts that would say your hair, whatever they sign your contract as and your hairstyle as it is, you'd have to get approval from your manager to cut.
Well, look at
and do your hair.
the crown law
the
that
Crown
passed
Act, yeah.
about not being able to discriminate if someone has dreads, if someone has cornrows, you know what I mean, whatever it is. And I think like also when it comes to, when we speak specifically on like medicine and you're in the medical field, there is a lot of patients, especially if they're not brown or black, who you have to be 10 times more excellent, 10 times more educated, 10 times more proficient in what you're doing to receive the same respect that your white counterparts are receiving. And I think there was a time in my life where I equated that to like toning everything down and like dimming my light and watering it down. And that's why now I'm so like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Be excellent at your craft. That's the bottom line. Be
Right.
so excellent at it that the nails is a distract. I have clients sometimes that are just like, oh my God, your nails are so long and so pointy and like, wow, I can't believe that you can do what you do. And it's like,
I hate, what's the word I'm looking for?
passive aggressive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I hate those passive aggressive topics. Like, oh, they drive me so
Just say
crazy.
you like my nails.
Yes. Like, just say you wish it was you.
Just say you want to know where I got my sneakers from. I could tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times I feel like people say things because deep down inside they love it and they don't know how to express the gratitude or they don't know how to express like the admiration of who you are and what you have.
You literally took the words right out of my mouth.
That's what it
People
is.
admire the fact that you're able to show up and be yourself and still be successful.
Yeah.
And you do a great job.
Thank
An amazing
How
job.
do you do it all?
So this is like one of my favorite questions I get asked. And the reason it's my favorite is because I think it is so important as women to be really like transparent, naked, candid about this topic because it is so heavy on so many women's hearts who are mothers, who are wives, who want to have careers, and they see someone, right? Let's just say hypothetically they see me and they're like, oh my God, she has it all. And the answer is no, I don't. Not all at the same time. And that is really big for people to understand because if you see me excelling really high in one area, right? And you see me, for example, receiving these awards for cosmetic dentistry, just know that if I'm excelling in this area, there is another area in my life that is hurting because of it. So I might not be able to make it to all my daughter's tennis practices. My husband might have to show up there. When you see me killing it at the office, just this last week, like just to be so transparent, I have done more cosmetic cases and units than I've probably ever done in 1 week. I left my house at 8 a.m. every day this week, and I got home at 8:30 at night.
Wow.
I didn't put my kids to bed. I didn't do bedtime devotionals like we normally do. I didn't kiss them goodnight. I didn't see them all day. So in my eyes, like that's really hurting on the mommy side, right? But wow, my career is like booming. I'm killing it. I'm this black woman in a white male-driven industry, and I'm killing it. And I think that there are other times that I'm really killing it at motherhood, right? Like I'm tutoring my daughter. She's jumping grades at school. She's like killing it on her test because we've done math equation after math equation, and it's going great. But how much did my office suffer because I couldn't be there?
Yeah.
And so I think like the biggest thing that I really want people to understand is that when you see someone who has it all, they never have it all at the same time. They never do. In times where I'm not able to be there for my kids, I'm like, they're still seeing their mom be a boss. They're still so proud to walk in my office and be like, this is my mommy's office.
Aww.
You know, they're still seeing, my daughter is seeing a black woman in a leadership role. She sees people who work, you know, underneath me as my team. And that's like amazing for her to aspire to be. And my son is seeing a black woman who he can look at as like, wow, this is power. Like it's not just men, which is what you normally see. So I'm really learning to accepted that I can't do it all at one time.
I love that you say that.
Like,
I literally,
you're speaking to our listeners, but you're also speaking
to us. No, because I wanted us to, like, as women, to have that conversation, because we're always striving to be of excellence. You know what I mean? We're always striving to be ambitious, and sometimes it's so hard to get that rest. So for us, like, I think it's important for us to acknowledge that burnout and hustle culture is not a flex all the time.
Not at all.
It's not a flex at all. I'm like, I need to rest.
We need it in order for us to be great.
Yes.
Honestly, and lately I have been having those thoughts in general, because we also talk about like having kids and stuff, and I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm lacking in one space where when I'm excelling in my career. So I'm very happy to know that you are, you know, it is possible, it's just not all at one time. And you're honest and transparent about that, because I'm like, how do people do this? Like, I feel like I'm failing in one like realm when I'm like successing in another, and it just feels like, well, then am I really successing if I don't have it all together at one time?
I think also, you know, social media has so many beautiful aspects, and I think that it can really bring people together, and it could really be like motivational. But at the same time, I think that oftentimes it can really deceive people, because again, people are showing you their highlight reels.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're not seeing when your husband is like, yo, I haven't had a home cooked meal in 5 days because you know what I'm saying? Like,
you haven't cooked this week?
Yes. No, I'm not cooked this week.
Did I touch a little topic here?
You're literally talking to me right now.
I was there. You didn't cook.
This
Normally when I'm at the house, you have a meal for me, and I didn't have nothing.
And then
this
he
week.
gets a meal too, but that's because we all working.
But it's really impossible. It's like, you know what's so crazy? My husband and I sat down before we got married, and I think this is so important. And I'm like, listen, real deal. There's no way a woman I can't be like the best doctor, bring home a bunch of money, keep my body up, cook 5 meals a week, be this mom. Like, we went through, and I'm like, what is important to you? Like, it's so important conversation. Right. Because in some households, the man is like, I don't care if you work. I don't care if you build a legacy. I don't care if you build a name. I want you to like be this homemaker and bake cakes. And again, I always say to people, like, that is success in that household.
To each his own.
Yes. Success to me is not like the accolades, the money, the name, the legacy. To me, success is truly like, are you happy in whatever it is you're doing? So when my husband and I talked about it, it was like so transparent. And my husband and I are both Leos. I don't know how much you guys like believe in like that kind of sign stuff, but we're both very strong lions, but it's very direct, and everyone can handle that. And he was very direct. Like, I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I do care about this.
Yeah.
Like, even down to like sex, keeping your body up, cook, like everything was on the table. And so I think that it's important for people to know that, like, no, you cannot do it all. And men should not expect a woman. You can't be like, okay, I need my wife to have these babies, get your stomach flat, work 5 days a week, come home, cook these dinners.
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic.
It's not. And men also don't do half of the things that they want us to do sometimes, you know? That's how I feel.
Well.
Right.
I mean, they want us to have everything, the whole package, and sometimes it's like,
yeah,
you know,
be for real. Be for real.
It's tough.
That's why I don't go to the gym. All right, I'm working on other stuff. Okay, but I love that you bring up burnout though, because I also think that that's a very popular thing in society right now. I mean, especially coming from New York, like we live in burnout, and like now that I've moved to Florida, I'm like figuring out my balance between like not burning out, but also like not falling behind in my career.
It's tough.
It is.
What would you say is some ways that you guys are balancing, like, of course, being super aggressive with the goals and the things that you want to do, but then also balancing like the softness and the luxury of life? Like, how are you guys finding the balance between all of that?
One of the things that people close to me honestly complain about is also the thing that's made me successful, is that everything I do at 100, right? And I've heard that so many times. So they say how you do one thing is how you do everything. This is the most successful people in life. And so how I am with my clients, the detail I put in the veneers that I do is the same detail I put in my home, is the same detail I put with my kids, my friends. But because I am like that innately, it's just who I am, I'm constantly on, right? Which I mean by that is I will answer that call. If it's a client, it's a weekend. You know, some people are like, when I get home, I turn it off at 6 p.m. I'm not that person, and I've never been. But what I can tell you when we talk about enjoying the luxuries, what I can say is because of my hard work, I live my life. I live a great life. like unapologetically. I travel, I have my girl time. Like I really enjoy my life, and I'm okay with knowing that it requires like that hard work, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But I'm never like the type to be like, oh, I'm working too hard this week, so, you know, this weekend I'm going to completely shut off. I'm not. Like, I'm supposed to be taking February off of work because I'm like, I literally was like, it's too much.
Yeah.
I'm burnt out, and I'm like, I'm taking February off. Then here goes like a big client calls, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to open up one day in February.
Right.
I'm going to come in. And then now, you know, I have 2 days in February that I'm coming in. But I will just say that I really feel like I'm happy with it. It's different when you're not, right? Like if you're burnt, if you're tired, like I'm exhausted at the end of the day, but I'm so fulfilled. And I think that's like the key thing. When you're exhausted, but you like get in your bed and you're like, man, God, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, thank you that I'm here. Thank you for what you've given me. Like, thank you. I think like that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like it really like makes it worth it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be happy like relaxing and being comfortable and resting and whatever if I wasn't like fulfilled in my life.
I agree. I feel like you have to always find your way back to yourself at some point, whether it's like working out, taking time off, or doing whatever it is, and not feeling guilty about it, because in order for you to pour into others' cups, yours has to be full.
Yeah.
Like you have to make sure you're pulling from a full cup. So I love that you said that.
If you've listened to the Elevators podcast for a while, you know how important acceptance is when it comes to personal growth. And you know who else is big on acceptance? Discover. You see, Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. That's a whole lot of places and a whole lot of acceptance, which is great for Discover, but even better for you. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/credit card.
And I feel like when you are also at a certain point in your life and career and economically, we start to pay attention to things like philanthropy, which you also dabble in. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm really big on like, you know, trying to level the playing field, especially when it comes to dentistry. So like access to care. Essentially what that means is that in neighborhoods where, you know, there's more poverty, you're not going to have like the top dentist. There's not going to be an orthodontist for miles and miles, because no one goes to school for 8 years or potentially 12 years after they specialize, and then opens up shop in some of these communities. So I'm really big on just finding ways that we can level this playing field. How can we get access to care to these underserved communities? And my biggest, where my heart really is and my passion is mentorship, is really just like mentoring like the new and upcoming brown and black dentists, and like really trying to, I always say, like change the ratio, right? Because the more brown and black dentists we have, these are the dentists who are willing to like go back into these neighborhoods and do pro bono cases and do free cleanings and screenings and really just elevate our community. And so the more of us that are there, the better. And I always say, you know, you can't be what you can't see. And so when young girls and boys see people like me, or, you know, see some of these other dentists that are killing it in their field, but still like being authentic to who they are, like we talked about earlier, like just being able to relate to and feel like I see you, you see me, we're the same. The more that we're able to uplift our communities and constantly do more to, you know, give care to some of these areas. There's a story I always highlight on a young boy. His name is Diamante Driver, and he was a young black boy in DC, and he had a tooth abscess, and his mother could not afford the treatment for it, the root canal therapy, and that infection ended up spreading to his brain, and he died.
Yes,
We were just
and I was
talking
just
about
telling
that.
Amanda about that.
Oh my
Sorry,
God.
go on, keep going.
And so when I first came across that story years ago, that's really what like drove my mission of like, this is crazy, because I don't know what dentist he went to. And DC is a predominantly black area, but what I can tell you is that there's no way that a young black child would ever come to our office, have something like that, and his mother couldn't afford it, and we would send him on his way. That would never happen. But it goes back to trying to increase this ratio of more dentists like us. Also, just in general, in client care, even when it comes to medicine, the black woman, you know, mortality rate for pregnant women is so much higher than any other race. Why? Because, you know, a black woman tells her white doctor that she's feeling this, she's feeling that, and it's like, oh, it's angry black woman, and you know, we know and there's racial bias even in medicine, and so it's the same thing in dentistry, and so that is something that's really dear to my heart, is just finding ways, and I'm working actually currently on a scholarship, because I think that there's a lot of eligible black and brown people that would be able to go to dental school, but the application fee per school is something like, I don't think it's like $500. So if you're coming, imagine you're coming from an underserved community as it is,
Already.
you have the grades, you
Right.
have the scores, you have everything, but maybe you can only apply to 2 schools because that's $1,000, right? But your counterpart who now comes from a very affluent neighborhood whose parents can afford to apply them to 15 dental schools, their probability to get in is higher. I have a mentee, she's brilliant. I mean, brilliant. She's Jamaican, born in Jamaica. She showed me her GPA and her DAT scores, which is to get into dental school, and they were out of this world. So I was like, you need to apply to Harvard. Harvard Dental accepts like 30 people. She's like, absolutely not. Like, I can only, and this is what sparked it.
And you start like picking and choosing.
So she literally was
Let
like,
me apply to what I'm more likely to get into
in.
versus like what I should be in because I actually have the scores.
Yeah, and also
grades.
based on what financially
so
they're
if she
capable
can
of.
only afford, if her family can only afford 3 schools, she's not
Wow.
picking Harvard, right? Because
Right.
Harvard now is only taking, like, what are the chances? Her scores were so high. I was like, no. We're applying to Harvard. You
Yeah.
better freaking believe it. She's about to graduate Harvard in May of this year.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
I'm so proud of her. She's like been the class president the last 2 years.
That's beautiful.
She's like one of how many black women that's ever, but it just reminds us that if you have someone behind you to uplift you, and that's why I'm so big on mentorship, because I always say, like, at the end of the day, I don't care to be known as like, oh my gosh, she was the best person to do veneers. Like, that doesn't get me excited. You know what I mean? Like, what I care about, like, when I'm long and gone, it's like I care about, like, who did I uplift? Whose life did I change? Who did I encourage? Like, what little bit of me did something for them. And so her story to me is just so beautiful. She's going to go on to just be magnificent. And that's what really gets me
Changing
excited.
lives, that's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Like
That's so important.
that's so important, because I feel like I'm also we're spiritual girls here. Like,
Yeah.
our gifts that God gives us is not for ourselves. Like, it's
Yeah.
for other people. Like, and if you're only holding on to it for yourself, then how is anyone else going to see God's glory? You know what I mean? If you're not able to share it with other people.
You ever heard the quote, like, I want to shine not so others can see me, but I want to shine so that others can see God through me?
Yes.
That's so big.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've always felt like that. And that's why I feel like God, I'm so faithful to God. And I'm like, not to get too like spiritual, but I
Get
literally-
too spiritual.
No, please
Get
do.
it.
Yes.
I literally am always like, I feel like God continues to bless me, my business. Like, my girl said something the other day to me. There was a situation that kind of went array on like a deal, and in the end, I basically didn't do my due diligence, and I ended up having to come out of pocket more than I should have, right? But I was coming out of pocket for my friends. It was like a dinner with friends. Nonetheless, I didn't think I was going to be paying what I was paying for it, but I ended up paying for it. And she said to me, she said, I want to tell you something. She said, money comes and money goes, but money follows you. And she said, and there's a reason. So I listened to her. I said, you're right. She said those words. I said to God then, I said, I'm sorry, God, for how could I even care so much about money? You've given me so much, right? This is my friends. The next week, this is like 3 days later. This is a true story. 3 days later, I came into the office, and I had 3 clients, flying clients, who immediately called to come in for cases. I think we might have done 150,000 in 3 days like this. And I said to myself, money comes and money goes, but money follows you. And why? Because I continue to take those blessings and pour it in, whether I'm giving money, giving my time, giving my efforts. And so I really believe that God trusts certain people with certain things. And that's why I try to tell, the people that I mentor, it's not always about money. It's not about just giving money to people. It's like giving your listening ear. It's about giving your advice. It's about talking about your failures. God knows how many times I failed, you know what I'm saying, to make it. And it's just really about like changing people's life, like you said, you know what I'm saying? Like really not just talking the talk, like really walking it, you know? So
all that other stuff is not fulfilling in the long term too.
No.
Like we can look at social media as much as we want, and the cars, lifestyle, all that stuff is cute at first, but eventually it dies out.
Yep.
That's not what really matters. And what's super fulfilling is impacting other people's lives positively.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. I feel like I am the most fulfilled when I am seeing somebody else fulfilled.
Yeah.
Facts. It just feels so much better.
Yeah.
It's rewarding in that sense.
And you know what? So Amanda and I were like gasping and clutching our pearls, because when we were talking, like preparing for today, I was telling her, I was like, the story that you were saying, I'm like, I know I heard the story before. I can't figure out like the source of when it happened. But I was telling her, I'm like, people don't realize how important your teeth are. I mean, when you really think about it, it's the closest thing to your brain.
Yep.
And how important it is to maintain them and keep them clean, and keep them healthy, I should say, because they always think of like dentistry as like cosmetic, and it's not. It's literally a health like thing that you have to take very serious. So I love the fact that, like you said, like no kid is walking out your office without like being treated for something like that.
Yeah,
because that's very important.
It's huge. It's very important. And I think that something else I wanted to talk about, as you just said that, is what do you think are some ways that, because I feel like, I don't know why people are just always fearful of going to the dentist, right?
Yes.
It's just like a phobia. I don't know if it's the chair. I don't know if it's the noise,
cartoons,
if it's the drill. I don't know what it is, but I
up.
feel like people just have such a certain phobia about it. Do you feel like, I guess, as you've been practicing, like there's certain things that people can do to kind of overcome those fears, or like just different things they can do?
I think that a lot of the fears, I did an article a few years back, and they were asking me specifically about professional athletes. And so they were saying that a lot of these professional athletes who have clearly the finances at this point in their life, that they come in and they're very fearful. They like did a study on it. And I was saying, this is really true. And my thinking is that a lot of these people came from underserved communities where it is a privilege, honestly, to be able to just see a dentist for like regular recall, cleaning, checkup. That is a privilege that a lot of communities don't have. So a lot of times in a lot of our communities, by the time you went to the dentist, something had gone so far that it is painful. So now you have to go in and you have to get anesthesia and you have to have a procedure done. So I think that a lot of people's fear stemmed at younger ages where something happened to them when they had to go, and and now it's like this stigma, and obviously like society doesn't make it better. Right. And I mean, we are putting these long needles in your mouth. Like I'm a dentist, and like when I had to get blood drawn when I was pregnant, I was like, oh my God. Wait, I don't want to look at it. And they're like looking at my paper like, aren't you a dentist?
Right. Meanwhile, you're like putting 6-inch needles into people's mouths.
I'm literally like, it's nothing, like jack it up like a gum, boom, boom. Okay, open. And I'm just like, it's like nothing to me.
Yeah.
So obviously like that, I'm scared. My sister took my wisdom teeth out, and when she was about to put them in my mouth, I was like, wait, I'm scared. Wait, put more gel in my mouth.
Oh my God, stop. That's so funny.
So I think
that makes us feel comfortable now, Dr. A.
Oh my gosh, yes. I literally am like, I'm scared of needles myself. So I think that's it. But to your point about like understanding, I do think that like a lot of people are becoming more educated with it, and I think platforms are allowing dentists to speak on how people don't understand that like infections in your teeth, they go through your bloodstream, they can go in your sinus, they can go in your brain, they are related to heart disease. Like there was someone who recently, I think he was a retired NFL player, he fell off of a ladder in his second job, like a really high ladder. He was like in construction. So that is the immediate cause of death, was that he fell and then he was in the hospital. He was alive, but the infection in his tooth caused the infection to spread in his body because his body was already trying to fight everything else. And ultimately he died. So there was like a lot of back and forth about like, oh, the company's trying to get out of paying because of the dental infection. And then dentists were chiming in and they're like, well, wait a minute, don't jump on the bandwagon. But the truth of the matter is that company was still at fault, in my opinion. However, his dental infection added to, when your body is trying to fight off any infection and you have any infection anywhere else, your chances of survival, and there's something called sepsis, are a lot slimmer. So I think people are starting to understand now just really the importance of like, it might not be super common, but it happens. Just like the people they're putting the feet for the fish to eat their stuff, and then they're losing a limb. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen that.
Yes.
I actually did that in Mexico. I did that in Mexico before.
Oh my God, girl.
And you shouldn't do that.
Because they said that they were eating the dead skin.
They are, and they're also like, but they're eating at your skin. So
and they're eating at a bunch of people's skin.
So
I mean,
imagine thinking about like your skin and then
I also
somebody
did this
else's.
back in 2017, so thank God I'm okay, I'm all right. But
Thank
this is a long
God.
time ago, but I will never do that again.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
But it's just like knowledge. So I do think that when it comes to that, I think it's becoming better. And just dentistry in general is like way more on the map. Really, because what's funny is people are like, where was this drive for veneers, right? In cosmetic dentistry. Well, when COVID happened, everybody was on Zoom. And on Zoom, you're like
show everything
up close and personal. So now people are like seeing their own teeth and they're like, oh my God, this looks bad, this whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that it like drove people to be like more conscious of it. And then obviously social media, everybody's like posting pictures and like that's a big thing. And so the whole drive for cosmetic dentistry. And what people don't understand is if you're going to a real dentist, not a veneer tech, you're going to a real dentist.
Say that again.
If you're going to a real dentist, they're going to require no infection in your mouth. They're not going to slap veneers on you.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I low key mastered my dental hygiene routine. Dr. A, since you're here, maybe I get this free advice and tell me if I'm correct. But I feel like a lot of people go about it the wrong way and they just start brushing their teeth. Like I feel like you're supposed to rinse first, then floss, then rinse again, then brush, and then rinse with the mouthwash. I never really use the sink water.
Wait, hold on. Tell me your steps again.
Okay, so I'm rincing, right? Like I think it's like the TheraBreath, like
okay, so you
the
rinse?
expensive mouthwash at Target.
Okay, so you rinse
first, then I floss.
Okay.
Then I rinse again
Okay.
with the mouthwash, and then I brush my teeth.
And then what?
And then I floss, and then I rinse out with the mouthwash.
Okay, so do you know that when you brush your teeth with toothpaste, you're not supposed to rinse after?
Well, I rinse it with the mouthwash.
You're not supposed to rinse at all because let me tell you, this is what most people don't know. And even me, I brush my teeth and I know the rule, but I'm like, I don't want the gritty toothpaste on my teeth.
So you're supposed to keep it on there?
Right. So how do you get it off?
That
Do you
has
just
the fluoride that helps fight cavities while it's on there. So you're supposed to brush your teeth. People are very shocked. You are not supposed to rinse after you brush your teeth with toothpaste.
So what do? You just like spit it all out?
You just leave it in your
brush,
mouth.
You spit, and then you wipe your mouth, and you go about your day, girl.
Stop it.
It's
See,
like,
and I thought I knew.
She thought she had it down pat. We were both wrong.
Wow.
But you know what's so interesting too about dentistry? It's just so funny. It's like I can sit here and be like, yeah, you should first floss, then you rinse, and I can tell you all this. But the amazing thing about dentistry is like, I guess like most fields, another dentist is gonna be like, no, I think you should do this first. And then you got people who don't even believe in fluoride at all. They're like, oh my God, charcoal toothpaste and all this natural stuff. I have one of my best friends is a like health and wellness person, and her husband still comes to my office for his cleanings, but she's like, I don't believe in fluoride, and you know, she's like one of those people. And I'm like, girl, just go ahead and be with your grass and your trees, because that's your thing. So, but yes.
Is charcoal toothpaste a thing? We want to debunk some social media things. Does it really actually?
No.
Okay. What about oil pulling?
No.
Oil pulling?
I mean, it sounds cute and it's probably fun, but I don't think that does much.
Okay. Well, before we let you go,
but flossing is really important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Flossing in some cases is more important than brushing.
Question: is the duration in which you brush more important than how many times you brush?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a trick question. Yeesh. You should take your time. A lot of people are like fast. Yes, I'd rather a person who told me they only brush once a day, but they spent at least 1.5 minutes brushing versus someone who's like, I brush twice, and it's like my kids brush for 6 seconds, and I'm like, get back in there. Like, what? You didn't do nothing.
And you're like, I'm a dentist. Like,
no, my daughter came out the other day, and I was like, come here, let me see your teeth. She's like this. I just saw a plaque around. I said, absolutely not. Go back in there. Like, no. The duration you brush is super important. And brush with a soft bristle toothbrush.
Yes.
Do not buy medium. Do not buy hard. Only soft bristle.
Yes. Oh my God. I learned that the hard way.
You will ruin your gums.
Bigs.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what I did.
Yep.
I
Really?
like 2-3 years ago, I was brushing because I'm a teeth person. So I'm like, I want them white.
Make sure
I want 'em
everything
great.
is out,
I'm
yeah.
like super annoying. But I was brushing too hard and I exposed the nerve in my back gum. And here I am thinking, oh, I'm doing the right thing. No, honey. So now I'm like super sensitive to hot and cold, all because I
you
brushed
like
too hard.
Yeah.
It's like a receding hairline. Like if you pull your hair too tight, too much, and and then you suddenly got a big forehead, and you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like your hairline goes back. It's like that with gums. You brush too hard, and your gums will go back.
Can't have that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
No,
happened to
gotta
me
be
before
cute.
too.
Ooh, child. Yes.
I know. We're learning so much. I love this.
know.
But before we let you go, we want to play a couple games. We're gonna have some fun. All right. First and foremost, we want to talk about some fashion stuff with you because we just love your fashion sense.
Aw, thank you.
So we want to know if you like, love it, or hate it.
Okay, like, love it, hate it.
New Chanel.
Oh, the prices is stressing me out. I mean, can we get into these prices? It's outrageous. I'm gonna have to go with I hate it just because the prices they outlounge just with the prices. I
Yeah,
just can't.
and the older Chanel bags are more quality than the new ones these days now.
Yeah,
Style.
a lot of people are complaining
The
about
style.
the quality and the style. Yep.
Yeah, the
The
style.
style. But you got some pieces, okay? I seen the metal one with the black. I said, we were looking through your stuff. I said, oh, Amanda, she did not have to eat like this. Like, this is a bag.
I would love to see this
Was
bag
that
collection.
vintage?
Look.
It was vintage.
vintage. That was a vintage.
Of course, of
piece.
course it was.
My
Okay.
husband, I'm gonna tell you something about my husband. My husband will hear me say one thing that I like or whatever, and he'll act like he's not paying attention to me.
Love that.
And he'll just be like, yeah, because he's not into all that.
Show up on Tuesday with a bag.
He will show up because my husband don't believe in like Valentine's Day. We don't do that. He's like, I want to just because. So he'll have a gift. He'll be like, it was raining outside, so I got you.
that's so sweet.
But he will listen to you and get something. So a lot of my
Man,
collection,
take notes. Take notes.
A lot of my collection, I got to give my husband credit. Is him.
That's dope. That's dope. We love a man that pays attention.
Right.
We love that.
Okay, retro Jordans.
Oh, love, girl.
Love.
Yes.
We're sneaker girlies on
Oh
the
my
show.
God, love. That's why I came here. I was like, give me these.
I love some sneakers. Woo. What's your favorite pair of sneakers?
Oh, that's so hard. It's probably one of my retro Jordans, though. Honestly, my go-tos are Dunk Lows, just because they're smooth, they're easy. But my favorite is probably one of my retro Jordans.
Yeah, same. I'm a ones girl. I love some retro Jordans. Okay, the next one is lab-grown diamonds.
This is a very, very trendy topic.
It's trendy topic because the whole digging them in Africa. It's just I will say this: I love authenticity in anything. So that being said, if it's done the right way, I don't want lab, right? Because I still feel like I like authenticity.
Yeah.
I like a rare gem. I don't like you can just create it like that. I like rare stuff. That's the answer.
I like that.
I like rare stuff
That's
too.
what I'm gonna start saying. I really just didn't want a lab, but like now
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I just like
Something rare.
authenticity. I
Yeah,
like
something you can't find, something you cannot make.
But they do say that
Yes.
diamonds
Yeah.
are like
Something
that's what
you
it is.
must find, something
Something
you
you cannot
can't
make.
Come
see
on.
that's I think I like that angle because they do say that diamonds are not as rare as they like market them to be.
But there are birthstone. We need the real ones too.
Yeah, no, I need the real ones for sure. I was just looking for reasons. I was looking for my arguments, okay?
We want authenticity. That's all.
Right. Okay. Tooth gems.
I don't mind them if they're placed by a dentist. I like them. Now, I wouldn't like them on me, but I've put some on some people and they're super fly. Like, I'm like, you got to have the vibe and the
you do tooth gems
the
too?
swag, yeah.
Okay.
But these are people that want like real diamonds on their teeth.
Yeah.
Not like,
Yeah.
Claire's little glue gem at the, at the,
Not the cubic zirconias.
not even those. They're putting the gems that you get on Amazon and putting it on at their little corner
Like
place.
the nail
Yeah,
ones?
I
Like
almost
you
got
put-
one of those. I'm not gonna lie.
No.
Yeah, I mean, and they won't tell you that's what it is, but I almost got a tooth gem.
Yeah, but I'm for it. It's like I said, just like grills. I mean, I don't have a grill, but I love making them for people.
I was just gonna ask if you like
I
girls
think
too.
it's swaggy. I like it.
I love them too. I want to get like a open faced one or something
Yeah.
that's just like if you see it, you see it. Like it's not like a full six to
I
the
like
bottom.
that.
I had a grill.
You did?
I did.
You never told me that.
Yeah.
Some of the ones like I've made for some of the clients I've made, like after we made them, like I was like, wow, this is like really dope because it means like really detailed. We'd put like real red rubies.
You could also get really cute with it, like
Yeah,
for
you could
women.
you could do
Mine
so
were like,
much.
I had just like a top row of diamonds. It wasn't like a gold grill. It was just like a top row with diamonds. And I was like, this is cute.
Oh, this is like Paul Wall kind of diamond. Like
Yeah.
kind of.
No, it's like
But it was just like
real-
a thin, like top row,
Yeah.
but like, yeah.
Yeah, we've done some really fly stuff.
So you answered oil pulling and you answered toothpaste from us already. Those are the other
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah. Well, and gold grills. Well,
Gold
there
grills.
there goes our game.
No, but this was really fun. Like I feel like this conversation that we had today was just super powerful and inspiring in so many different ways.
Yeah.
We appreciate you for coming on the show and
Thank
talking
you.
with
I'm like,
us.
it's over
You're
already?
welcome.
What we gonna talk
I
about?
know. We are professional yappers. We can sit here and yap for hours
Listen,
with you.
if we didn't have to stop down, I wouldn't want to. That means you have to come back again for another
Yes,
episode.
definitely.
We would
I
love
definitely would
to.
come back.
Yes.
Yeah, we would love to have you on. I definitely want to talk much more about like finances and all this good stuff. So let's do it again.
Oh,
have to.
finances. That's a good topic for women.
Yes.
Are you financially literate in your household? Do you know how to pay? If your husband dies tomorrow, God forbid, do you know how? Can you operate? Can you live?
See, we got to do it
a good-
again.
that's
And maybe we can pull up on you in like your office or something.
Yeah.
Like,
That'd be dope.
oh my
You know,
God,
I
that'd
don't
be
know if this
cool.
is pretty, but
This is pretty, but I'm sure your office is really pretty too.
Yeah, so we have to do it again. Thank you so much, Dr. Amira, for
thank you
coming
for
on our
having
show.
me.
Hopefully you guys love this episode. Like, comment, and subscribe. Drop some comments. Show us some love. And until next time,
Bye.
bye, y'all.
bye.